reaping benefits of that as well.
Do you think the question of chief ministership is closed, Selja ji, or are you hoping that post the 8th of October, that ball is still up in the air?
Let me be very clear as to my understanding of things. On the 8th, after the results are out, we do have a CLP meeting. It'll be decided by the High Command when to do it. They send observers. And after that, the ball comes to the High Command's court, and they are the ones to take the final political call on that.
But Selja ji, if we look at the figures there, the public opinion, at least by this poll, stands with Bhupinder Hooda, 31%. Do you concur with that?
Well, who am I to concur or not concur? These decisions are not taken according to your opinion polls. These decisions will be taken by our High Command.
But Ms. Selja, do you see yourself as still a chief minister candidate, or would you settle for a deputy?
What do you mean by still?
Do you see yourself as a chief minister candidate? Let me rephrase it.
You see, I would again say it. I would repeat it. I've said it earlier. I would say it again, that there would be very few people of that seniority to fill that post. And I think there would be maybe a couple of people, and maybe my name would be there, and then maybe it would be considered, and then the High Command maybe would decide amongst those names.
That's very honest.
There's a broad smile when you said that.
And that's very honest.
Would you be okay? Suppose tomorrow they said, Selja ji, Deputy Chief Minister ban jaiye. You see, Congress has all strange ways. 2.5 years, Deputy CM.
There's nothing like that. I don't know if India Today is deciding all these things. I don't know.
But ma'am, will you be open? Let's rephrase it. Will you be open of being deputy, or do you think because you've been such a strong leader?
Let's just say that all these decisions are with my High Command.
Would you think the High Command will do justice to the kind of work you've put in the state of Haryana?
See, that remains to be seen on the 8th.
You're waiting for the 8th then?
All of us are, not just Selja. I think everybody is waiting. The whole state, and maybe the media and the people. Everybody's waiting.
One big change we've seen, ma'am, and we saw it in the Lok Sabha also, Dalit voters. There is a sense that Dalit voters are moving towards the Congress in the Lok Sabha. Do you believe that's also the case in the Vidhan Sabha? Is that one of the big changes, if these numbers hold, that you're seeing happening, not just in Haryana, but across the country?
Some studies are indicating that, and we also sense, but in Haryana, let me tell you that we believe in Chhattis Biradari, and everybody has moved towards Congress. Definitely, Dalit vote has moved towards Congress.
Ms. Selja, were you, ma'am, in any which way roped in with the introduction of Mr. Ashok Tanwar back into the party fold, because he was seen as a Dalit face as well, of him being bought in? Did you know that he was being bought in again?
I was informed.
Were you agreeable to have him back into the party, especially after he'd made the rounds?
See, ours is a big party. Ours is a very big party. People come and go, and especially during the elections, it happens more often than other times.
Okay, for the time being, we'll leave it there. Kumari Selja ji, we wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us. We'll see what happens on the 8th of October. For the time being, for joining us, thank you very much. I want to go across now to a man who comes from Haryana, interestingly was on a Congress stage saying, I'm not in the Congress, I've spoken against the Congress, but I'm here to tell you why I think the Congress should be back. He also spoke of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. Yogendra Yadav, who makes very clear he's not here to discuss the numbers, here in his capacity as a co-founder of the Swaraj India. Yogendra ji, you're smiling. First you're saying you don't believe the numbers. Obviously you're excited by these numbers, but tell me this, because you said you don't want to discuss the numbers, so I'll park them on the side. What impact do you think the 8th of October and whatever results come from Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana could potentially have on the next round of assembly elections in Maharashtra and Jharkhand? Will some mahal carry forward, or do you think these are completely different battles? Yogendra Yadav.
Thanks, Rahul. The smile that you referred to is just because I get to see an old friend like you. Also, because I've been saying for the last 1 month that in Haryana, at least, there isn't much of a surprise or suspense. It's one of those elections whose result was known almost a year before the election. And the only question I've been saying is whether it's a Hawa or an Andhi or a tsunami. We don't quite know yet. So we would wait till the 8th. So nothing very, very surprising so far. On the impact, I think it's an important question. And it depends on how you read. Now, politics of elections is over, but politics of interpretation may have just begun. Now, I think BJP spin doctors would already start spinning things because they knew they were going to lose. I suspect 3 kinds of arguments would come. One is, it's only Jat and Dalit consolidation. Second argument would be, nothing to do with Mr. Modi, only a local anti-incumbency. And third argument would be, look, BJP has retained its vote share. All the 3 arguments are either spurious or counterproductive. One, I have not yet seen your caste-wise breakup of your exit poll, etc. But my sense is no party can gain something like 44% votes or something of that kind that you have shown without gaining across the spectrum. So it's spurious. If it is not spurious, then the argument that a party has gained both among Jats and Dalits, that already is an argument in favor of Congress. If it was only Jats, then I could understand the argument. If a party is gaining both among Jats and Dalits, clearly it's a party that represents the rainbow coalition. So it's a counterproductive argument. To say that BJP is not with Mr. Modi, it has nothing to do with Mr. Modi, but it's only local anti-incumbency. And in the same breath to say, look, BJP has retained its vote share. Now, just put the 2 statements together and you would see how ridiculous these are. Because are we saying that while under Mr. Modi's leadership, BJP loses 10 percentage points, in fact, more than 10. BJP loses between 2019 and 2024 Lok Sabha elections. In Haryana, BJP loses 14%, about 12 to 13% votes. But it's not losing in the assembly. So are we saying Mr. Modi is a liability in the national elections and the local leadership is not a liability? Is that the argument? Just look at how counterproductive these arguments would be. To my mind, we should move away from such counterproductive arguments and focus on the big things. The big questions would be, number one, and that's the question all over the country people would try and read. I'm sure once the results come, everyone would claim it's a semi-final, central government is about to collapse. I think those kind of things are spurious. The real serious question anyone would ask is, number one, whether the setback that BJP suffered in the parliamentary election, something that I called a moral and political defeat, was that a one-time event or was that a trend? That's a serious question everyone would be looking at. For that, Jammu and Kashmir would not be a very good case because it's not seen to be, because there's some very peculiarity involved there. But Haryana would indeed be seen as a case. And if BJP loses substantially from where it was in the national election, in the parliamentary election, BJP was neck and neck with the Congress in Haryana. In fact, Congress was 1 point ahead if you take Aam Aadmi Party's votes there.
No, but
if
can
you
I
exclude
pause you just for a moment to challenge you for a moment and get you to respond? Yogendra ji, there are 2 things which can be said against what you're saying. One, there is 10 years of anti-incumbency. Look at the track record of Congress governments after 5 years of being in power. Whether it is Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan, they typically have tended to be voted out. The BJP has been in power for 10 years in a state which hasn't been an organic BJP catchment area. And therefore, after 10 years to be voted out, doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of the Modi factor, as you're suggesting, or that the Modi factor is completely decimated. Of course, he's a factor, maybe slightly diminished from his peak, but a factor nonetheless. But the party has also been in power for 2 terms, whereas Congress governments typically after 1 term have been voted out and voted out quite harshly by the Indian voter, whichever state this has been, whether Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan or several other states. How would you respond to that argument, Yogendra ji?
I would recall the fact that actually BJP was voted out in 2019 itself. It managed to come back to power in Haryana on the basis of a backroom deal, which was such a treacherous deal that it left people of Haryana seething and angry. The second thing is, while I see that as a relevant factor for assessing Congress's government. And I think it's a very serious challenge that the new Congress government, assuming that there's a Congress government, which is the most likely thing, this would be a very serious challenge for the Congress government. But I don't see this as much of a defense for the BJP, because BJP government, the moment you say, oh, this is not a normal catchment area of BJP. So in a sense, anyone who makes that argument is beginning to concede that BJP all over the country is receding back to its core areas. That, Rahul, is exactly what analysts all over the country would be looking at. People may not be interested in Haryana as Haryana, but the question would be BJP, which had expanded so massively throughout the country, is it receding now back to its core areas? And secondly, was that setback only a momentary setback of one parliamentary election, or is it becoming a trend? From what you say, in both cases, the answer would be yes. It looks like a trend and BJP is shrinking. If those two things are correct, then I don't think this adds up to a very good argument for the BJP. However, just to go back to the bigger picture, to my mind, the big picture is a overall trend. BJP would be seen to be declining, especially in the Hindi heartland. And politics, as you would know, Rahul, I think your show was called Political Stock Exchange or something to that extent, something of that kind. Politics is very much like stock market. Either you are up or you are down. And if you are down, then people start exiting, people start disinvesting their stocks. And this is the danger BJP faces. I'm not saying Haryana alone would be enough, but Haryana's signal would be, okay, the stocks are down. And number two, the most immediate consequence would be that in Jharkhand and Maharashtra, it would affect the morale of BJP's workers and leaders. I'm not saying the voters of Maharashtra and Jharkhand would be influenced by Haryana results, but the morale of the worker and leaders, that certainly would be, and that's a deeper impact that we should look at.
But you see, Yogendra Yadav, as you know better than anyone else, every state election is distinct to the other. Just 10 months ago, we had elections in other northern states. BJP swept Madhya Pradesh 2/3, came back to power in Chhattisgarh, and managed to wrest power in Rajasthan as well. Also all Hindi heartland states. Then you had Lok Sabha, where the BJP still was the single largest, while suffering blows in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana. I'm just trying to understand. You're saying that it is a declining stock at the moment if these Haryana results hold. The other question is, does that mean necessarily that the Congress is a rising stock, or will Maharashtra and Jharkhand really test more than Haryana, if I may say so, whether what happened in 2024 is an aberration or whether we are seeing a clear decline in a dominant party? Would you press the pause button and wait for Maharashtra before you say it's a declining stock, or are you saying it today itself?
Rajdeep, in fact, I would go one step further and say that even Maharashtra and Jharkhand would not be a final conclusion. I'm just speaking right now, and I've been arguing that actually the fate of Mr. Modi's government will be decided in Bihar next year. If BJP and NDA loses Bihar, that would be the beginning of countdown of the BJP government. So I would not so easily write off the BJP even after, if it loses even Maharashtra and Jharkhand. At the moment, I'm just speaking of perceptions. And as you know, so much of politics is about perceptions. In the battle of perceptions, and as you know, someone very carefully decided to detach Maharashtra and Jharkhand elections from Haryana. That someone officially is called the Election Commission of India, but neither you or I would believe anything of that kind. So there was some political strategy there. That strategy hasn't worked. In the battle of short-term perceptions, and it's a short-term perception battle, nothing more than that. In the battle of short-term perceptions, BJP would be seen to be down. And if Maharashtra also goes against the BJP, that perception would be intensified. If Jharkhand also goes, because that, to my mind, Jharkhand is the only real state where we don't know what the outcome might be. If Jharkhand goes against the BJP, a state which BJP has done very well in Lok Sabha, then of course it would become a very intense perception. Even then, I would not say that is the is the beginning of the end of Modi government or something of that kind.
I have a question.
Just for a moment. If what would have changed? Perception is one thing. Perception sometimes mirrors reality as well. As I said, Dalit vote seems to be shifting away from the BJP. If these numbers hold clearly in Haryana, a large section would have shifted away from the BJP. What, according to you, is the change? Forget perception for a moment. In reality, what has changed in 2024, according to you?
If we look at Haryana, I think post Lok Sabha election, two things have happened. One is the overall perception of Congress being a possible and real alternative has strengthened. While BJP was already rejected, I've been saying even a year ago in Haryana, everyone on the street knew BJP is on its way out. But for Congress to emerge as such a strong contender, and for every other contender to be completely marginalized and sidelined, is something that has happened post the parliamentary election. And in that, Rahul Gandhi's rise in perception, Rahul Gandhi's emergence as someone who is now taken seriously as leader of the opposition, leader of a different kind of a voice, that may have contributed to Congress's success this time.
But Yogendra ji, one quick question to what you were saying, because I'll give you an anecdotal evidence, because I was on ground in Haryana for a fair point. And what I actually gathered was the Congress was a default option. You know, the vote was negative कि इनको हटाना है. अब ये नहीं था कि इनको लेके आना है. It didn't seem at least as a pro-party vote. It seemed as a negative vote for the BJP कि इनको हर हालत में हटाना है. And then the default setting became Congress.
I partly agree with you, PTG, because when the results come, I'm sure Congress leaders will take all the credit and so on, and that's legitimate in a sense. But the simple fact is that almost a year ago, more than a year ago, honestly, after as I said, the government was born in bad faith, the second government of the BJP, farmers' movement really broke the ethical, moral legitimacy of this government. And the restless protest was the real last straw. After that, the government lost its legitimacy for a very large section of Haryana's electorate. The question was, yes, we want to throw BJP out, but who in the place of BJP? All I'm saying is that in that respect, Congress has gained very much. If you look at 2019 assembly elections in Haryana, put the votes of Congress and BJP together, that's hardly 65%. And if we go by what your poll is showing, the numbers that I'm looking at the screen, you are saying that this time Congress and BJP together will be more than 80%. So clearly, the non-BJP space, which was available, which was large, Congress has captured much of that non-BJP space. So Congress must have done something right to do that.
Yogendra ji, you said a moment before now that Bihar is the election that, according to you, will decide the future of Indian politics. Now, in Bihar, someone you know well, Prashant Kishore, has just started his new political formation. He seems to be drawing big crowds. He thinks he'll be king. Opinion is divided about whether he'll be vote cutter, kingmaker or king, or whether he'll be a non-starter. It is impossible to know for sure, but from what you understand of politics of India and of the state of Bihar, what's your best guess? Will Prashant Kishore cut the BJP's vote? Will he actually end up helping the BJP? How do you see the Prashant Kishore factor play out in the context of the fact that Nitish and BJP have now been in power and therefore will have a certain amount of anti-incumbency? Tejasvi and the RJD are waiting in the wings, hoping to catch in. Where does that X factor then, according to you, impact the next Bihar Assembly elections?
Rahul, I know much less about Bihar than you think I do. I have not traveled on the ground, and I try not to say too much about places that I have not traveled in. Prashant Kishore has clearly made a very important beginning, and one can only wish him luck. He is up against two very large trends of Indian politics and of Bihar politics. One is that creating a new political force, unless it is based on caste and community, is extremely difficult. In the last 20, 30 years, we have seen only one or two instances of that. So that is the larger systemic force against which he stands. And second is that in Bihar, given the caste polarization of Bihar politics, to create a force which breaks that caste polarization is going to be tough. Both these things are tough, but in both of these, I would like to wish him luck. If something like this happens, it would be a great opening. My own disappointment generally has been that it's very, very hard to start a new political force in India today. If Prashant Kishore does it, that would indeed be a new opening. That's all I can say. I would wish to travel more and be able to.
One quick last question from one quick last question from Yashwant Deshmukh.
Yogendra, purely from the perspective of looking at the numbers, I mean, yes, MOTN has already, we have said that Bihar is going to be tricky for the BJP. We are looking now at the series of probably within 12 to 18 months series of elections where the tables are gonna turn probably against the BJP, barring a few exceptions like Jharkhand you just mentioned. My question is, do you see that as a firm transition thing nationally in favor of the opposition, or do you fear that once coming into the power at the state level, the routine incumbency starts working against you as well? For sure, we have seen Congress winning assembly election, but losing that grip, in the Lok Sabha election, the moment they come in power, be it Himachal, be it Telangana, be it Karnataka.
Yashwanti, suppose we have a situation where Congress loses, let us say, 3 out of the 4 states currently, which looks most likely. It could be 4, it could be 3. Let us say it is followed by Aam Aadmi Party retaining Delhi.
No, BJP loses 3 out of 4.
No, we are saying BJP.
You mean, just a minute. You mean, because people will clip this, you mean BJP loses 3 out of 4?
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. In the 4 states currently, let us say BJP loses 3 out of 4 states. Jharkhand one is not sure as of now. If BJP loses Jharkhand, that's actually very bad news for BJP. Let us say Aam Aadmi Party manages to retain Delhi. And let us say, hypothetically, that NDA loses Bihar to UPA, to India coalition. If that happens, Yashwantji, then it would be very, very hard for BJP to pretend as if it's only state-level anti-incumbency and things of that kind. Clearly, number one,
but anecdotal evidence also gives us, whenever you get into power and if the state governments are not working well, you tend to gather enough anti-incumbency by the time the Assembly Lok Sabha election comes in. And we have seen that. I mean, barring the state of Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, where you have got really, really popular chief ministers at the moment, but the Congress-ruled state governments, for example, in the last 2-3 years, be it Himachal, be it Telangana, be it Karnataka, they could not sustain the momentum. So, doesn't that bother you?
Yashwanti, the moment we say, okay, there's anti-incumbency, this affects all the governments and so on and so forth, then BJP loses its biggest calling card. BJP's calling card was that this logic of anti-incumbency doesn't affect us. Look at Madhya Pradesh, look at Uttar Pradesh and so on. If it starts happening in all states, then BJP is like one more political party. And in that sense, then its stranglehold over national power seriously suffers. And that's what I meant, the business of perception. You and I can sit and look at vote swings. You and I can do some sophisticated analysis. But in the chai ki dukaan, on the street, on Rajdeep's plate when he travels, the message would be, "Arey bhai, down." And this message that you are down, exactly the message that you have in Haryana today, bhai, down hai, inki to sarkar jayenge, ye to harenge. That if that message goes across, then it would be very, very hard for Mr. Modi to continue to be the prime minister, because the BJP would then start feeling that they are that someone who looked like their trump card is a liability. And then all kinds of things start triggering in the party. But that's hypothetical. I'm not saying all that.
You've just doing some aag mein ghee ka kaam.
You've set the stage. I think you've set the stage, which is interesting. And remember also, one of the slogans in Haryana that seems to have worked if these numbers hold, BJP ja rahi hai, Congress aa rahi hai. So bipolarity seems to have crept in, at least in Haryana. And that bipolarity, Rahul, could become a factor in states like Maharashtra, where you have lots of players. If I want the government out, will I choose who is best placed to defeat the government.
not
So I
only
think in
that,
that
Rajdeep, we
sense,
were just
it could
discussing
become
in
interesting. But Yogendra
Maharashtra,
Yadav, as always, good to have you with your wisdom. And you've set the stage for us to broaden it. Brajesh Kalappa, he's joined the Congress, I think now, just a few days ago. And Ajay Alok of the BJP have joined us. Let's get your quick comments. Have you joined the Congress, Brajesh Kalappa, or have you applied to join it? And your first reactions to our poll, and then Ajay Alok, you. Both of you have been waiting patiently. We apologize for your wait.
Yeah, Rajdeep, I've not yet joined the Congress, but I've indicated that I will join the Congress in days to come. But today, I think, is a grand day for the Grand Old Party. And you see, I was just listening to what Mr. Yadav was saying. And I think the first thing is that, if political parties, for instance, there was a question which said that why do political parties like the BJP continue to win while the Congress party loses? But you see, when a body blow like 2014 had struck the Congress party, then the body itself was weak. And that kind of strength is now being regained. I think the first, big injection the Congress party received was the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And ever since it's been on the roll. You'll find that what happened in 2024 and then thereafter these elections, I think, every political party is also like a human body. Sometimes it's debilitated, sometimes it's strong. And exactly the same thing is now likely to afflict the BJP. And just now, I think the BJP is going to be extremely debilitated in times to come.
Let me put that question to Ajay Alok. The Congress supporters are already celebrating, even though the results haven't been officially counted. But this will be the big question. Do you think the 8th of October will set the mahal for Maharashtra and Jharkhand? Or can the BJP isolate the 2 days and say, no matter what happens on the 8th of October, the battle of November is a different battle altogether? Ajay Alok.
Well, Rahul, as per with due respect, your exit polls and all the exit polls that's happening, I do believe that I don't believe in exit polls, whether they are for us or they are against us. No? And well, I don't think it's wise to count the rats before they are caught. That's what the exit polls are all about. It's Ayaram, Gayaram. Today it has come. It will go on 8th. And that we have seen happening in June when the Lok Sabha poll results were declared. And even before 3 months before that, when Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan poll results came out. Well, that's anyway. But with all due respect to exit polls, since they have been conducted with some technology and with some scientific brains around, I wish I was hearing Mr. Yogendra Yadav, such a wishful thinking about the strong perception the BJP is going to face if this happens, if this happens, if that happens, if that happens. As if BJP is like a lallu. We'll keep on swinging in between and let this happen to us like Congress party. What's happening around? First of all, let me tell you, what happens to all these things if this exit poll turns around? Then what you will say? We were winning 350, 380. Nobody was giving us less than 285. In a private conversation with Rajdeep, he was also giving us 290, 285. Everybody was thinking like that, but we came down to 240. How does this change the scene? Still there is an NDA government, still the Prime Minister is there, still he is leading the country. And still the BJP remains to be the most potent force in this country. And I really am astonished when Congress party speaks like that. What do you have gained, man? You have jumped from 54 to 99 and you are behaving as you have won the country. And listen, this is just a state poll. And how come the results of Bihar is going to be really the game changer? Bihar is going to face elections next October, November. It's almost a year time. A lot of changes, things changes in one day in politics, and you are assuming things after 1 year. Such a wishful thinking.
Okay, so you're saying it's wishful thinking. You're saying it's wishful thinking. Let's get Rajat Sethi, Amitabh Tiwari. Big national picture. You've got the BJP saying wishful thinking.
I'll give you one example. Let me complete.
Yes.
Let me complete. I'll give you one example. 2015 elections. The so-called anti-BJP alliances won 2/3 of the seats in Bihar. It was all over for BJP. Bihar is there. What happened in 2017 UP? 325 was the majority mark. So you don't assume things based on one election result, and this is not even the result.
Good point. One election. No, you make a good point, Ajay. No, one election doesn't necessarily tell you what will happen nationwide. Take that Rajat Sethi, Amitabh Tiwari. If these numbers hold, does it give the Congress perceptually momentum, which is, I think, really what is key often also in an election, or does it signal a greater change or move away from the BJP?
I think Congress is largely comfortable in their current leadership setup, and the equation between Rahul Gandhi and Kharge, that has sort of worked well for them so far. And I think the momentum clearly is with them going into the next two elections as well. But there are certain larger learnings that happen if the exit polls were to hold true. One big thing that I have seen as a trend is that if you are labeled as a B team of BJP, then the voters come out and punish you. They don't give you a free pass that you can, get the votes and keep cutting the votes, etc., and not allowing, the opposition.
You're referring to JJP here.
I'm referring to JJP.
No, but there's a bigger problem. But one second, Rajat,
PDP in Kashmir.
there's a bigger problem there. Think of it as cricket, right? You suddenly have, say, baseball,
right,
as one example, or Sanat Jayasuriya in that World Cup, coming in and smashing the ball at the beginning of the over, changing cricket. They catch the opponents off guard initially, and then the opponents know what you are likely to do,
right?
Which is somewhat what is happening. So unlike the earlier perception where opposition leaders thought of the BJP as these Chinese giants, 10 foot tall, marching down the Himalayas, then you start feeling, boss, jaise hum ho waise. Tum bhi dangal karo, hum bhi dangal kare, kabhi tum jeetoge, kabhi hum jeetenge.
No, that is true. So I think this is a learning. And another learning that I've realized is that if there is an artificial alliance, then the leaders might be, doing all kinds of permutation, combination, joining one party or other. People are not moving along with the leaders. And this is what might be a challenge again for an Ajit Pawar in Maharashtra. No matter how much of cosmetic changes you would want to do with a pink color, it has its limitations when you are doing some kind of an artificial alliance together. People are not liking it. And also for the BJP, there might be certain core BJP voters which get upset if you have, say, a PDP come into your alliance, or a JJP come into your alliance, or an Ajit Pawar coming into your alliance. They want to, I think BJP should go back to its ideological drawing board. The core ideological issues that BJP used to contest elections on are largely over.
A rainbow for them to be able to win all these states.
This
they
is
won
the challenge.
Because
this is why
they did ideology plus transactions, and that's how they were able to win as much of India as they did.
See,
so Amitabh Tiwari, does this have an impact on Maharashtra? You're in Mumbai, so you should tell us.
See, essentially, every election is different, but it does give the momentum to the Congress party if it is able to form the government in both the states. See, here also we are seeing two different contradictory trends.
Momentum is okay, good for TV, but does momentum have a empirical bearing on voting behavior on the ground in Maharashtra?
No, it impacts the decision of the neutral voter. See, here we are seeing that the Congress party, which won only 8% of the seats versus BJP in 2019, went on to win 28-29% of the direct contest. Now we are seeing the Congress party again probably defeating BJP in a direct one-to-one contest. So that gives confidence to its voters and also places a question mark in the mind of the neutral voter that Congress is also a viable option perhaps.
So you believe in the Mahal theory. Yashwant Deshmukh, will the Mahal carry forward, or is it, extrapolating too much?
Mahal will definitely carry forward. And Rahul, let's realize one thing.
You also think Mahal will carry forward?
Biggest finding of the Lok Sabha Maharashtra results was not about Shinde versus Thackeray, not about NCP Sharad Pawar versus Ajit Pawar, but it was BJP versus the Congress in the neutral territory of Marathwada and Vidarbha, where Congress gave a proper dhobi guard to BJP without even a leader. That tells you only one thing. Congress remains the default party in India against the BJP across India in that way. And BJP for once cannot think that कि हम कुछ भी करते रहेंगे और लोग हमको वोट देते रहेंगे. What Rajat is saying, that they compromised on that basic core nature of party with the difference कि हम हर हालत में किसी भी हालत में सत्ता में आएंगे और हम
आपको कहीं तो मॉरल पोजीशन लेनी चाहिए, कहीं पर तो आप लोग पब्लिक को एक कॉज तो दो कि हम पार्टी सच में पार्टी with a difference.
And for what?
That's what I'm saying. Their ideological drawing board has to be rewritten.
The branding problem of the BJP as on today is This is a party which wants to get into power by hook or by crook or by doing any shit under the sun. And that is where it has damaged the core brand of the BJP.
There are three phases. If you look at 2014 to 2019, BJP emerges as a dominant party. Not only does it win Lok Sabha, but it wins a series of state assemblies, including Haryana, where they've never won again, get its first chief minister in Maharashtra in the form of Devendra Fadnavis. So you have a series of victories. Yes, there were blips like in Bihar or in Delhi, but by and large, BJP was on a roll. Come to 2018, there are first signs just before the Lok Sabha where the Congress makes some kind of a recovery in the North Indian belt, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. But in the Lok Sabha, the Modi factor is overwhelming. After 2019, what we by and large seen is if your state government is non-performing, double engine won't work anymore. Yeah. I think the message is very clear. Haryana voter is not buying this double engine rhetoric, just as Karnataka's voter did not. Ki Bomai will be with Modi. Modi ke naam pe he will offset Bomai or the Karnataka government's relative unpopularity. And for much too long, the BJP has not been able to change that narrative. I was listening to their speeches, even in Haryana. They were saying double engine hai, wahi sarkar chahiye kendra mein. And I was stunned personally, and Preeti can come in and tell me more. Haryana, to my mind, seemed a state that's gone back. You actually go into rural Haryana, the roads are terrible. There is no sign of young employment. The youth are no longer employed. There's a sense of frustration and anger. And it's not enough then to say, nahi, Modi ji hai Delhi mein, that will be fine. It doesn't work. And therefore the BJP...
No, but where has the Congress solved these problems in Telangana or Karnataka?
You're right. So therefore, you see, there will be those from the BJP today who will tell you, and already they're saying, कि अच्छा है कांग्रेस की सरकार आएगी 5 साल बाद हम आएंगे या when the Lok Sabha elections come in 2029 we'll benefit. That's all very well. My own feeling is in the next 2 years you have a lot of state elections, some of which, particularly Maharashtra, I'd say according to me Maharashtra is as important as Bihar. Yogendra Yadav is saying Bihar. To my mind, Maharashtra will... Because remember, Rahul, Maharashtra was the Congress's original citadel.
No, Maharashtra is where the money is.
Forget the money for a moment.
Money is very important.
No, forget money. Money is
because
there.
You don't run Bangalore, you don't run Hyderabad. If Mumbai slips out of your hand, it's a very big problem.
You will then be running you will be for a moment. If tomorrow the Congress wins Mumbai, you will be running Bangalore, Hyderabad and Mumbai. But it's not about money. For me, it is about, as Yashwant said, the face-to-face contest. We saw in 2019, BJP would win 80 to 85% of direct contests with with Congress. That came down to about 60% in this Lok Sabha. And Congress's vote percentage went up. Now, if there is a secular rise in the Congress because it's getting, as I said, Dalits and other marginalized groups, frustrated youth. Youth are frustrated in Haryana. They are looking at the Congress. I just wonder whether you saw this, that they actually don't seem to believe in the double engine anymore, कि Modi ji आएंगे और सब कुछ ठीक होगा.
You know, well, somebody who comes from Haryana, I'll tell you what's the worst is to have a theka or a liquor store every 500 meters. It's actually a huge issue in Haryana. It never happened before.
As is drugs.
Add to it, as it's drugs, especially in the border regions of Punjab. But, you know, with what highest unemployment is in the state of Haryana. But, you know, I disagree when we say, and getting in the double engine there, that this should not reflect on the Prime Minister's popularity, because everything related to the rise of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state of Haryana was related to the Prime Minister. Suddenly you cannot disengage the two. You came from 4 seats in 2009, Rajdeep. You rose to 47 seats. You rode at the back of none else but your biggest vote catcher, Prime Minister Modi.
But when all of this is said, Ajay Alok, it must also be considered that the BJP has been in power for 2 terms in Haryana, and at the end of 2 terms of being in power, a certain level of incumbency sets up against any government. Look at all the Congress governments, whether it's Rajasthan or a Chhattisgarh.
Rajasthan
5 years later, they've been voted out. Now, how do you respond to the point that's being made that you were trying to position the BJP as being a different party, which had a Teflon coating and wasn't touched by anti-incumbency? If the 8th of October goes along with these exit polls, is politics in India then reverting to a mean?
Well, first of all, I would like to take objections about certain words said about the BJP, that they thought that they can do any shit under the umbrella. That's not the kind of the word should be used. The sanctity of the decade must be maintained.
Sure.
Second other thing, if you're talking that BJP didn't come to power Haryana the second time and so on, let me remind you, Congress also never returned to power in Rajasthan in 2018. They took the support of Bahujan Samaj Party and got them merged. So these things keeps on happening in politics. And now, getting back to Karnataka, what Rajdeep was saying, that we are looking at Bangalore and we are looking at Karnataka, what was done. What was done in Karnataka? All the things with the false narratives were set up and people got fooled. Now today what's happening in Karnataka? Now with that Karnataka, we were cautious in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, and we gave them a befitting reply. And the result was for there to everyone to see. It's a double engine when we say, because the intention is same, the policies are same, implementation, yes, you can say the implementation by the state government or the central government at some point of time were not right if the people has not given us mandate. In any of the state, for that matter I count, if we lose. We respect the mandate. We never challenge the mandate. That it's
why did
EVM or
you
it's
change
something
your
else or
chief
something
minister
different.
so
We
late
respect
in
the mandate.
Haryana? If these
No,
numbers
moving of
hold-
Dalit and moving of here and there. Today you are talking to a party who has already claimed 240 seats.
No, I want
And then the third time return of the
many
Prime Minister.
observers believe, sir, just a minute. Many observers believe that if these numbers hold, one reason is you didn't change your chief minister, Manohar Lal Khattar, who was close to the prime minister. There were those within the BJP who wanted a change in 2023. It was stopped by the high command. And therefore, there's a sense that the high command culture is such in the BJP that
How
you
many
don't
times-
allow these local,
how
you
many
don't allow
times,
local
Rajdeep,
satraps to actually assert themselves.
Rajdeep, tell me how many times the Chief Minister was changed in Uttarakhand and still we won the election? How many times the Chief Minister was changed in Gujarat? Still we won the election? So this is not at all the things. It's about the perception of the people. And let me tell you, these are not final figures that everybody is so much jumping. Let the final figure come out in the open. What Haryana has seen, a tremendous change at the ground.
Does
You may
the
be
double
talking of the
engine
rural
still
roads,
work?
some of the rural roads
Ajay bhai,
have gone to,
Ajay bhai,
and they are
in
not
your
in a
view-
good condition.
Ajay bhai, in your view, does the double engine still work? The concept.
Yes, it does work. It 100% works.
But Dr.
The
Alok,
concept
somewhere down the
100%
line,
works.
down
does
the
work.
line, do you accept that there is a
It is working
need
in the
where
UP. Look at the
BJP
change in the economy.
But
It's nearing
Dr.
1
Alok,
trillion economy.
right, Dr. Alok, do you somewhere down the line
yes,
admit
Preeti.
that there is
Yeah.
a need, there is a need now to nurture regional leadership? Because if you look at Haryana, who is your face? Nayab Saini, then who? Who do you have who takes control of Haryana as the face of Haryana where the electorate is concerned?
Well, this is the problem with the Congress, that they are not letting away the Huda go. Let Dipinder Huda should have taken the reign. We keep on experimenting with our leadership in every state. Look what happened in 2014. Nobody could have ever thought Devendra Fadnavis could be our chief minister, or for that matter, Manohar Lal Khattar, or for that matter, in Jharkhand. Everywhere we keep on experimenting with the face. In all the 3 states you have seen, with the new kind of regional leadership we are developing. Modi ji is
you don't
always
have-
keen on bringing up the new
but Dr.
generation
Alok,
ahead.
fair point, but
As
to
you
flip
s-
it around,
as you-
the last 10 years, you could have used those 10 years to nurture a strong regional leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party. You were forced to remove Mr. Khattar, bring him to the center. So that's gone. Now you gave only less than 6 months to Nayab Saini. Now, what now?
First, let the result come out. Second
Okay,
thing,
fair point.
Yeah,
Fair
the Mr. Khattar was not removed forcefully, but it was very tactic decision. Third thing, Mr. Nayab Saini is very young as a chief minister, and he has a lot of distance to travel in politics. It's his first term, and the stint of 6 months he has done exceptionally well. People will realize it, and let the mandate come. Why we are in a hurry to pronounce our decision right now that BJP is gone, everything is lost? Come behind.
let's hold the panditry till the 8th of
So much
October.
wishful thinking has been done.
As the exit polls from the Lok Sabha elections suggest, there are limitations to what you can say with precision or not. The poll gives you some insights into voter behavior. They are by no means final, and we are highly cognizant of that. But the fact that lakhs of people tuned in shows that there is interest in these polls, and that's what we put out. And as far as I'm concerned, Rajdeep, time की बात है. जब luck साथ में होता है, that ball which takes the edge goes for a 6 above third man, and if it doesn't, it goes to the keeper of first slip and you get out. I mean, that's cricket, that's life, and that's kind of what's at play. What song would the different political players be singing?
You know, I have promised my children 2 things that I will not do again. One is dance, So whether the numbers are right or wrong,
+1 on that.
Yashwant and I are also two Maharashtrians. We are not generally good dancers.
I'm very clear. I have in 28
If you get
years
your poll right, you have to dance. No, one second.
If I get it right, I'm not dancing. If I'm getting it wrong, I'm not crying.
Okay.
So let's be very clear about it.
No, I don't agree with that. One second. When he signed the contract, one of the lines, please read clause 15, subsection C, 3A. It says you have to dance if you get the poll right. It's part of our contract with you, Yashwant Deshmukh. You can't say I don't dance. You and Rajdeep have to dance if you get the... Whether you cry or not is your decision. But dance to karna padega.
Dekho, 8th is a long way away. Zindagi ek safar hai suhana. Yahan kal kya ho kisne jana. After that exit poll, you must remember Kishore Kumar's great song and just live by that. Today we are, Ajay Alok is not wrong. Today we made all this analysis. What happens if our exit poll is wrong? We'll have to say everything in a dramatically different way. For now...
So you've put on your dancing shoes, right?
No, not at all. Part is over. My daughter is hopefully getting married next year. And that's when I will dance. But I will dance without any social media. I don't show my dancing anymore on social media. None of this, private. But otherwise...
He's saying all this. Let the poll come true on the 8th. Then we'll see if he's dancing.
कुछ नहीं.
He'll be dancing with joy.
नहीं, ऐसा है. वो चूरमा ले आना. वो क्या? जलेब.
Whoever wins Haryana, we need
jaleb. Churma was excellent. I was very impressed with Haryana, and they make the most wonderful parathas. They really know how to make a lovely paratha.
I thought you
I am
asked for a
glad you're
Vazwan.
saying it.
And Vazwan.
Please do it after Navratri because some poor souls like me are fasting. So I mean,
Fair
please
point.
don't make a fuss out of it.
No,
everything, eating and this kind of stuff, it has to happen after the Navratri.
Achha, well, you see, that is the wonderful
but we're
nature
a
of
free
this country.
Those who want to eat should be allowed to eat.
He can celebrate Navratra. I will look forward to Goshtaba as my main meal, followed by churma, and that's life.
How much grief he gave me saying, how is Haryana a vegetarian state?
I know,
you had a good meal, no?
Among my various discoveries of Haryana over the years is that it's so vegetarian. But, that's life. And that's what makes this country so
But
so
think
special.
also about what's to be
And
celebrated.
best
The
lovely
fact that no one wanted to boycott elections in Kashmir, that voter participation and enthusiasm was so high. No matter who wins or loses, Indian elections, Indian democracy are winning. And suddenly all those who felt EVMs are rigged, exit polls are bogus, they're all bought out, sold out, whatever else was being said, none of that has been said. Let's just sit back and celebrate Indian democracy because that, I think, is most important. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you at 7 a.m. on the 8th. Goodbye, good night. Enjoy your churma, your firni, whatever it is that's got you going.
एक दोस्त है जिससे बात किए बिना हम रह नहीं सकते, बातें घंटों की हों या कुछ सेकंड्स की। ये दोस्त हमेशा हमारी बात सुनता है क्योंकि हमारा सबसे अच्छा दोस्त